During the lockdowns of 2020 and 2021, we ran a food distribution program out of the MyCentre community centre in Broadmeadows. Thinking back to that time, there was so much uncertainty, so much community concern, with no end to the pandemic in sight. And the Broadmeadows area was one of the hardest hit areas in the country, if you ask me. But the community, more than just the Muslim community too, the broader community in that area all came together to support each other with our food relief program. It started off as something small. A local business called up saying, "We've got some food here to give away, can you guys distribute it?" So we invited community members to come and pick it up, just drive in and drive out. We put it into their cars so there was no contact. There was so much more traffic than we'd expected. I was like, can it really be that bad? But we sent a message out to local businesses and organisations asking for donations, and they really came through and supported us, especially organisations like Second Bite and the Mental Health Foundation of Australia. Even the state government supported the program. We packaged together food parcels with fresh produce, rice, noodles, food that could last some families a week. We gave away hot meals too. The place looked like a Costco, pallets everywhere. On any given day, we had 10, 15, even 20 volunteers out there risking their own health and safety to help others, and the queue of people in their cars to collect parcels stretched for almost half a kilometre some days. It was massive. At the peak of the program, we did this several days a week. I'd always thought, we're in Australia, everyone's comfortable and got what they need. But the reality of the matter is that people were, and still are, struggling, and it's hidden away, especially in your own community. You look at this person in the queue and think, there's no way, they're struggling, but they are. They can't afford rent, food. Some of them didn't even have cars to put the boxes in. What I really noticed was all the single mums. I used to think, if you don't have a job, Centrelink will give you money and it'll be okay. But then I started asking around and realised, wait a minute, this isn't adding up. How is an entire family, a mum and 3 kids, going to survive on these payments after paying rent and bills? I think as the program went on, people became less embarrassed to take the boxes because there was a program for them. It meant that it wasn't like they were coming and asking for help. They were coming and turning up to a program that they were entitled to use. Then, people with really fancy cars started turning up. I remember one woman, she asked for 5 boxes and I was a bit taken back. But when she explained that she was dropping them off to people, elderly people, who had no one else to help them, I guess it was another case where there was more to the story than what I could see. I had to look past my own assumptions. I remember one day, the police came by and said, "Hey, what are you doing so many people gathering here? This is illegal." Then we explained what we were doing, how there was no contact. They thought for a moment, and then they were like, "Can we help?" And then from then on, they came and helped when they could. So we had this line of volunteers, Muslims, non-Muslims, police officers, people who wouldn't normally have any cause to come together, all working together to help the community. It was also good for our own sense of selves, to do something good for the community during hard times. It lifts your mood, lifts your spirit, you know? And it was actually really helpful having the police there because some of the families coming here for the parcels, I knew them well, and they were embarrassed to take the food. Sometimes a person would drive up, see I was at the front, and turn the car around. But if someone they didn't know, like a police officer, was at the front, the box would go because they didn't know them and they didn't feel so ashamed to come and get the help they needed. In fact, lots of people who didn't know about our community centre before started turning up and getting involved, and lots of them have continued their involvement. They've made new friendships, new support networks and connections from it all. For sure, we need more programs like this because it's just such a need for it. During lockdown, it was fine to do the whole thing with volunteers. People had a lot of spare time and were looking for something to do, but that's just not possible now. My hope is that more food relief programs will help people feel less ashamed about needing help. We've seen a similar thing happen with drug and alcohol programs over the last couple of decades, and I would love to see that happen here. I want, for anyone who's struggling, to see that you are not alone. It's not your fault. It's a bigger problem than that. Your community is here for you. Please don't feel ashamed to reach out or accept a helping hand. I want the community to see that this isn't just a problem for a few people, a few families. It's a problem affecting the whole community, the whole Australian community, that we need to help each other through.